Hello and welcome everyone. SnykCon is our signature event of the year, and due to our tremendous growth last year, we've created a day dedicated to our channel and Tech Alliance partners. We wouldn't be in the position we're in today without our partners, and I'm excited to welcome our partners from all over the world. A special thank you to you, our sponsors. Last year, our first SnykCon was an amazing success with 5,000 registrants. This year, we're excited to build upon that, and tomorrow you'll welcome more than 10,000 registrants from all over the globe. If you don't know, Snyk is a fully distributed global company partnering with companies all around the world. Let me introduce you to Carrie Stanton, Head of Global Business Development and Channel Partners. Carrie.
We have an exciting partner day for you. If you miss a session, all the talks will be available on Snyk's partner portal. We'll walk you through a typical sales cycle with Snyk and demonstrate Snyk's value within the cloud-native application security ecosystem. Plus, show you a live hack demo session. After our talk, Anir and our amazing product management team will provide an exclusive look at our product roadmap. We'll also cover how best to go to market with Snyk and take advantage of the developer movement to build secure applications.
At Snyk, we have this saying, thoughts become things. And thanks to all of you in the past year, we've built 3 new products, Snyk Container, Snyk Infrastructure as Code, and Snyk Code. We've also seen rapid adoption of our products that you have helped us achieve. Over 300 million tests have been run by our customers within the past 12 months. Over 30 million vulnerabilities have been fixed by our customers and users within the past 3 months. We have 1,200 happy subscription customers, and Snyk has grown to more than 750 sneakers around the globe. With our continued pursuit, Snyk has reached more markets around the world with our new channel partners. And we've closed massive new customer deals, including our platinum sponsor, Atlassian. Carrie?
Thanks, Peter. Those are truly impressive stats, but wait.
Thank you.
We have even more data to share on Snyk's explosive growth over the past 12 months. Since SnykCon last year, we've grown our ecosystem to include more than 75 partners worldwide. We're also excited to announce new partnerships at SnykCon, with DigitalOcean, HashiCorp, and Wipro joining the Snyk family. We built new native integrations into industry-leading developer tools and cloud platforms. We are specifically proud of our first-party integrations with AWS Code Pipeline, Atlassian Bitbucket Cloud, and several other leading ISV solutions.
Now let's talk about you. What has transpired across the world in the past few years? We've all become digital transformers. Every company is becoming a software company. Digital transformation has changed the way we live, the way we shop, the way we travel or stay at home, get healthcare, and work. Just yesterday, I bought something online at Nordstrom's. I ordered a coffee, Starbucks, and I sent my kids money via Venmo. Digital transformation is affecting all of us, and it's everywhere. Not everyone has been talking about the importance of digital transformation being secure. That's a massive shift from physical to digital infrastructure. Snyk's goal is to secure the digital world. The world's most powerful organizations spend billions on cybersecurity tools, but those solutions are dated. Examples are SIEM and endpoint, threat and network detection, and authentication tools. In fact, Gartner forecasts that global spending on information security services will increase to over $150 billion in the year ahead. With over 27 million developers around the globe, this creates a huge opportunity to bring developer-first security solutions to the market. And we can only do this with the help of our partners.
And you are here because you and your customers believe in secure development. You and your customers believe that the apps with built-in security are critical. You understand secure development is changing. You want to join Snyk to drive continued innovation in security.
We've been here to work with you to make this all possible, to build secure applications. We continue to invest in our platform's extensibility and work with you on more integrations and applications. We'll make it easy as possible for you to purchase, to implement, to leverage Snyk software, no matter where you're building or running those workloads.
To all of you, Team Snyk thanks you for being part of the Snyk journey, helping us build better products and integrations, and helping the world become more secure. Building things is not enough. Developers have a greater role in our digital world. Developers have a greater role in security. We all work in a privileged industry, and together we have an opportunity to do more. Because of our partner sponsors here today, together we are securing the world's digital economy and enabling impact. Snyk is laser focused on this, and you will learn more about this tomorrow, so please join us for the entire SnykCon experience. But before I pass things off, I'd like to say a few thank yous. Partners, thank you. Thank you for making our ecosystem stronger. We are better together. Sponsors, a huge thank you for making SnykCon possible, especially Atlassian, our platinum sponsor.
And finally, to my good friend and partner of 20 years across 3 companies, Snyk's founder and creator, Guy Pajani. Thank you for having the vision and dedication to create the world's first and foremost developer security company. Off to you, Guy-Po.
Thanks, Peter, and welcome, partners. We're really happy to have you here today to share with you a sneak preview, no pun intended, of our vision for developer security and how it drives our platform and our innovation. We're not even halfway through our keynote, and you've probably already heard us use the term digital transformation quite a few times. And I know it's a buzzword, and it's competing with synergy maybe for that sort of corporate word that makes you glaze over and stop listening. And I also remember, maybe you should too, that it's actually a pretty good term to describe the shift that's happening in the market. But I'll grant you it's a bit overused. So instead of using that term, I'm going to use 2 other words that might not trigger that sort of corporate speak alarm bell in your head. I'm going to talk about independence and trust. Modern development is all about independent teams working continuously. The goal is really to shorten the time between writing a line of code and getting it in the hands of users, and then learning from those users and their usage, and going back to the code to adapt it. And the tighter that loop is, the faster the iteration, the more competitive and the more successful the business will be. In a different view, the more independent these teams are, the more scalable the business is, because it can actually run fast on multiple fronts without the teams getting in each other's way. The fastest moving companies today are really, really good at it. If you look at Amazon, Google, Salesforce, Twilio, all Snyk customers and partners, by the way, them and other many successful companies, they scale thanks to their fast-moving independent teams that can satisfy needs of many markets in parallel and with speed. This is also how we operate at Snyk, and it plays a really big role in how we successfully manage our hypergrowth and deliver on all of your needs. Beyond helping the business, this mode of operation is also really fulfilling for developers. It lets you unleash your creativity and your innovation. It helps you see the impact your code is having right away, and it helps you personally learn and grow faster. In practice, once you get a taste of developing software as part of an independent, empowered team, it's really hard to go back. For this model to work, development teams, and all you developers that make them up, have to be empowered. But what does it mean? What does it mean to have the business empower you? And what's the secret to making such empowerment successful? At the core, empowerment builds on trust. The company trusts you to get the job done and to do it well. For instance, you're trusted to choose whether to code in Node because you like having the same language on both the front and back end, or in Go because you want speed and maybe you secretly miss C++. You can even choose Java or .NET because you want a language that actually works in an enterprise context. This decision has many implications, including security implications. For instance, JavaScript may be more susceptible to denial of service attacks, and Java might be more of a deserialization risk zone. You're trusted to make the right trade-off between these risks, all the other variables, and to choose how much risk you're actually willing to take. You're similarly trusted to choose when to use open source and open source libraries to accelerate your development, and choose which ones to actually rely on. If you use more libraries, it might help you build faster, but it brings with it some maintenance work. You now need to track these libraries for known vulnerabilities. You need to build some form of cadence on which you would update them. You're also delegating this trust to the maintainers of these libraries. You're expecting those maintainers to fix issues quickly. You expect them to write secure code. And you expect them to make good decisions around which libraries they themselves trust and their maintainers. This all makes a set of very important decisions. A poor decision over here could lead to technical debt or increased risk. But if you become overly conservative over here, you would slow down and you wouldn't be competitive. Choosing correctly is your responsibility. Nobody else has the context you have about your app. And besides, depending on a central team to decide which libraries to use, that would quickly create a bottleneck and get in the way of the speed that we're really aiming for in the first place. In the cloud-native world, this trust extends to making infrastructure decisions as well. You're trusted to pick an operating system to use in your container and to choose which base image you want it packaged in, along with all the other goodies that might come in that base image. You're trusted to configure a Helm chart and choose the apps that it installed, or edit a Terraform file or serverless file and define the storage that you want to provision. You define what APIs exist and what do they accept. You define the permissions that each service runs with. All of these decisions, as you may have suspected, they carry significant security implications. And all of them need to be maintained, otherwise they'll grow stale and they'll grow vulnerable. It's important to remember that trust doesn't mean you make decisions in isolation. You are also trusted to collaborate well with other teams, and that can drive efficiency. You work with those other teams to create shared platforms, to define guardrails, so not every team needs to have all of its learning done on its own. But to achieve the speed and the scale that we actually desire, we need to always aspire to make the teams independent so they can move fast without relying on those other teams. And that requires trust. Being trusted and empowered is amazingly rewarding as a developer, and it can make the business bloom. But it isn't easy. When it comes to security, it could be doubly daunting. Security is complicated, making it harder to know the security implications of these decisions you make, and the stakes are high. Very few events can put a company's existence at risk more than a major breach. This is really where Snyk comes in. Our job is to make security easier, to help you develop fast and stay secure. We plug in seamlessly into your regular development work, and we surface the security risks at the right time and the right place. We'll give you the information you need to make the right decision without requiring you to be an expert. And we'll help you prevent a security flaw before it ever happened. Last but not least, we'll help you nudge you in the right direction, just to nudge you towards that secure path and make it easier for you to actually fix the problems that we find. Sometimes we go as far as actually picking the secure library or writing the secure code and just package it up in a pull request for you to just approve. In most companies, we won't be helping you alone. We'll be partnering with the application security, cloud security, and product security teams who are similarly looking to build security into the fabric of software development in their specific orgs. These security teams are your local experts, and while you might know your applications best, they know your adversaries and the risks far better. We'll help them, these security teams, build their security expertise into our product, tune and enrich our platform to fit your organization's needs, and they push us and ensure that we build more and more capabilities and make our platform smarter and smarter so we can help you better. If you're on one of these security teams, we'll help you put in place a platform for developer security. We'll help you move away from being the bottleneck, reviewing all the issues and being this department of no that hinders innovation, to being a strategic and empowering organization, helping developers tackle security well and being the expert they pull in when they need help. We'll also help you implement security governance and build those guardrails so you can know what's going on and where you need to get involved. To provide all this value, we built a powerful developer security platform, and we stick to an approach that we call dev-first security. Dev-first security because the most important goal is to get developers to embrace and be successful in using the platform. It's dev first, not dev only, because the security team that we just mentioned, as well as other stakeholders, are all a core part of this mission, and we need to make everybody successful here as well. However, we know our priorities, and we, unashamedly, put the needs of the developers at the top of the priority list. Dev first security, because that's what we're actually here to accomplish. The easiest way to lower the burden on developers is to not look for too many things, right? A poorly updated vulnerability database or a minimal rule set. It's a great way to reduce alerts, but it doesn't actually protect your customers' data as it should. We help developers actually build more secure apps, not just check a box saying they did, even when it means surfacing work that needs to be done. Snyk's developer security platform has been built precisely for this balancing act. For over 6 years now, we've been honing our skill at getting it right. It wasn't a painless experience. It wasn't for us, and especially if you've been along for the journey with us, it might not have been painless for you. You may have noticed that at times we flooded the backlog with seemingly equal high severity issues until we learned to create a smarter priority score that factors in far more than just severity. We opened fixed pull requests with too much text, and then with too little text, and then with too much text again, until we found what we feel is a pretty good balance today of text and format. We annoyed some open source maintainers when we surfaced vulnerabilities in their projects without properly telling them or collaborating with them first. And we had some embarrassing moments when a customer informed us about a known vulnerability instead of vice versa. And then we quickly added more of these vulnerability sources to Snyk Intel so it doesn't happen again. This learning is never done, and we aim to keep improving. But by now, we've built some powerful muscles that help us get it right. These primarily fall into 3 core strengths that our platform is built on: security intelligence, application intelligence, and developer experience. Security intelligence is the security expertise you hired us to provide in the first place. For instance, we take pride in our vulnerability database, and we are confident that it is the most timely, most comprehensive, and highest quality database out there. That's the case because, even though we love the fact that the community informs us about vulnerabilities, we don't purely rely on that. We also actively seek out these issues across the internet with increasingly sophisticated sensors. It's because we don't expect open source maintainers to be security experts too and just perfectly classify their security defects alone. We bring our security experts to collaborate with them so that they get it right. We know if a vulnerability has published exploits. We map out all the sanitizers in the code. We categorize the security implications for every cloud or Kubernetes setting that you can set. The whole idea is to spare you, the developer, the need to be a security expert. So our platform better be such an expert itself. Application intelligence helps us understand your application as well as you do, and sometimes better. It means we know exactly which libraries you're using and which ones they're using, so you don't waste time on false alerts, but you also don't miss any real ones. It means we understand if a vulnerable container binary came from the base image or came from the Docker file, so we can guide you to the right remediation path. It means understanding how every line of code manipulates the data flowing through it, and all the access and permission that a Terraform command might grant. Scaling application intelligence is especially hard because of its breadth. Each ecosystem is its own unique snowflake, and it has its funny quirks and special algorithms. Python doesn't follow the same rules as PHP any more than Maven mimics NPM or AWS Azure. Treating them all the same will lead to false alarm and missed security gaps, neither of which will make developers happy or the company secure. We invest heavily in per-ecosystem application intelligence, and we take a depth-first approach, which means we care more about accuracy in one ecosystem than a checkbox claiming support for another. This is a never-ending mission, and we're really, really grateful for all the great input that all of you give us. You, our users, are the ones that hone our knowledge and sharpen our understanding of your stack, and that is amazing. We do ask you to keep it up. Elad and Noah will talk about deepening our application intelligence in their session on code later in the conference. I encourage you to check it out. And last, but very much not least, is developer experience, which makes both security and application intelligence consumable by developers. Dev experience relies on a long list of critical core features. For instance, we ensure that scans are fast and accurate, so they match the speed of your builds, and they don't break them unless they truly have to. We leverage our app and security intelligence to auto-generate fixed pull requests, because we know your job as a developer isn't to find issues, but to fix them, and we're here to help. We combine opinionated integrations that embody the best practices of an IDE or a Git platform with a powerful and flexible API and command line that can adapt to your specific custom pipeline. Matt will share some exciting developments around the extensibility of Snyk's platform in just a bit, so stay tuned. But the true secret to a great developer experience isn't any of these. We've all used tools that have the same set of checkboxes, and yet we adore one of them and we just can't stand the other. A truly great developer experience depends on a million small details. It's the way the pull request text or the CLI output is structured. It's the call to action on a page and the words on it. It's the animated GIF that you did or didn't get when you get something right. To get these right, we run a constant stream of experiments. We learn from how the millions of developers on Snyk's platform respond to changes and thoughts, and we change and adapt our platform accordingly. Great developer experience needs to be earned, one experiment at a time, and constantly tuned. These three pillars, security intelligence, application intelligence, and developer experience, are at the heart of our developer security platform. But the platform packs in so much more, and it just keeps getting better. It's my pleasure to invite Aner Mazur, our Chief Product Officer, to share more about the platform and some exciting developments on it.
Thanks, Guy. As you've mentioned, developers today have an increasingly growing scope of what they're being trusted to own and secure. That consolidation of ownership to the developer that now owns not only the security of their code, but also of their underlying infrastructure and configuration means that consolidation of tools is needed to provide unified workflows, reporting, and prioritization. Having a single platform for all the various application layers developers now own means that an analysis can be made given the full application context versus single components. Each of the application aspects we support today, from code to IEC, and there will be more in the future, benefit from shared platform components. The developer experience, security intelligence, and application intelligence platform components that Guy previously described are core to creating the developer-first security. The platform, however, has a few more key components. Developer empowerment to help every developer become more knowledgeable about security so that less security errors are made and they're fixed quicker. Extensibility so that this platform can be natively integrated with other tools and workflows within your environment. And governance so that security professionals can have the visibility, set the policies, and provide the guidance needed to help developers secure their applications. I'd love to take the opportunity to share and demonstrate some of the amazing progress we've made in different areas of the platform lately and how we'll continue to evolve them. Let's dive in first to the developer experience. So let's start where you usually start as developers, in the IDE. One of our key areas of investment at Snyk continues to be augmenting day-to-day developer workflows right within their IDs, helping teams improve their application security posture in a natural and native way. Our comprehensive and expanding IDE coverage now includes the full JetBrains family, Visual Studio, VS Code, and Eclipse. So it doesn't matter what languages and frameworks you're using or your choice of IDE, our Snyk IDE plugins will analyze your projects and show you results within a few seconds, packed with actionable fix advice and example. Our support now doesn't just go broad, it also runs deep. I'm excited to share, in an industry first, you can now use Snyk to find and fix issues with proprietary code, open source dependencies, container-based images, and infrastructure configuration right within your IDs. We're also making it easier for developers to select and update their application dependencies within the IDE in a smart way, based not only on information from Snyk's industry-leading security database, but now also with Snyk Advisor information on package health, factoring in project popularity and adoption, maintenance health, and community size and activity. Now, let's have Ben Williams, our VP Product of Developer Journeys, demo it.
Hi, I'm Ben, VP of Product Management at Snyk. Let's take a look at the demo. So for this demo, I'll be working on a simple Node.js application deployed in Docker containers, orchestrated via a Kubernetes cluster within a Terraform configured EC2 instance on AWS. I'll walk through how the Snyk IDE plugins enable secure development while coding to allow you to confidently find and fix issues within your code, open source libraries, container images, and infrastructure configs. In the bottom left here, you can see the Snyk Issue Navigator, structured and organized by different types of issues and providing both a high-level overview and the ability to drill down to specifics. I'm going to first take a look at the issues Snyk has found with our open source dependencies. Here's a critical vulnerability in the version of Lodash that we're using, in this case prototype pollution. Clicking on the issue opens up some further detail. We can see a variety of key information including the CWE type, the CVSS score, and in-depth detail from Snyk's industry-leading vulnerability database. Notice this link to learn more about the vulnerability. Stay tuned to the rest of the product keynote to hear more about this. We can also see the full path through which the vulnerability was introduced, as well as actionable remediation advice, in this case upgrading to Lodash 4.17.20 or later. I'm going to go ahead and bump to that version. I'll run an npm install and kick off a rescan. And you can see we've fixed that particular issue. I can also see scores from Snyk Advisor where overall package health ratings are lower than 70. I can easily jump to take a look at more details about the packages and their health across aspects of popularity, maintenance, community, and of course security, all helping me make better informed dependency choices. Next, I'm going to take a look at an issue in our code. The Snyk plugin tells me that we're introducing a cross-site scripting vulnerability in index.js. I can actually walk through the full data flow here step by step to fully understand how we've created this vulnerability. And what's incredibly neat is that Snyk code will provide a curated set of example fixes to learn from. Let's go ahead and update our send function to use render instead and kick off another scan. The code scanning capability runs incredibly quickly and also provides broader code quality recommendations. Great, that's fixed that XSS issue. Let's switch now to look at our Terraform config. I can see a bunch of password-related issues along with remediation advice that tells me just how to go about fixing the issues. I'll go ahead and do that now. Let's update that minimum password length and add some attributes for the policy to require both uppercase and lowercase characters, and to require numbers, and to require symbols. Another rescan, and we'll see those issues are no longer present. While I'm here, I'll also take a look at some issues detected by Snyk IAC related to our Kubernetes deployment to address some issues with the pod security context. We'll make a quick change to prevent the containers from starting if they try to do so as root user. A quick scan to confirm we've resolved those issues. Last but not least, I can see a bunch of issues in our containers. I can see from the details pane that the Nginx image we're using has a significant number of critical and high severity vulnerabilities. I can also see some base image upgrade recommendations, allowing me to easily see how upgrading will improve our security posture. I could make the change manually in our Kubernetes deployment file, but I can also use context-sensitive actions to quickly apply the change. So now we've gone full stack with our secure coding experience. And with that, I'll pass back to Anu.
Thanks, Ben. From the very start, Snyk has been embedded into the developer ecosystem. Providing accurate results requires deep analysis into the frameworks and tools being used. That's why Snyk continues to add more integrations and invest in deepening the existing ones. In Snyk open source, in the last year, we've shipped support for new languages like Elixir and package managers like Yarn 2 and Poetry. We've launched new native integrations with Atlassian Bitbucket and AWS Code Pipeline, and we've improved support for .NET fixes and have a brand new support for C++, which is now in beta. As part of expanding into every part of the developer ecosystem, Snyk acquired open source component identification and auditing leader FOSS-ID back in May this year. FOSS-ID's technology identifies all forms of open source components, including unmanaged ones, supporting code print, binary detection, and best-in-class code snippet analysis, based on a database of over 2 petabytes of open source signatures from thousands of sources. And it does all this at a very fast performance, uniquely enabling integration within the dev process. I'm excited to share with you a demo of the first integration of the FOSS-ID engine into Snyk open source that's now in beta, C++ scanning support. On to Gareth Rushgrove, VP Products at Snyk.
Hi everyone, I'm Gareth Rushgrove. I'm the VP of Product here at Snyk. And I'm here to show you a quick demo of our new C++ support in Snyk open source. So let's dive straight in. I've got a small C++ application I've been building. And we have a few, ultimately, software dependencies here that I've rendered. OpenSSL, IP tables. I'm making a sort of small network tool. But C++ ultimately doesn't have a strong package management sort of philosophy as part of all the projects. So that's why we've introduced the new Snyk unmanaged command. This allows us to analyze projects like this. We can find the dependencies, find what versions they're at. We're doing this using a lot of the powerful technology that was developed by FOSS-ID that we recently acquired and that joined Snyk. So under the hood, we're matching up all of that code. We're finding out that this is definitely OpenSSL. This is definitely IP tables. It's at this version. Then we're matching that up against our vulnerability database. And here you can see we've found a number of dependencies. We've surfaced a number of vulnerabilities in them. And we're helping you to identify, well, which files that we're using for that matching and how you can go about fixing it. Snyk Test is a tool that's useful locally. It's great for just getting quick feedback or integrating into your CI/CD system. But you can also use Snyk Unmanaged Monitor and send that information to Snyk. This gives you access to aggregate reporting and all the a lot of the policy features we've built around that. You also get useful, nice dashboards that make it easy to share that information with other developers on your team. So here we can see the vulnerabilities laid out, all nicely prioritized, and we're adding more and richer data as we do with the rest of Snyk open source all the time. Hopefully, if you're a C++ developer, this looks great. This is something you want to try out. If you do, please sign up for Snyk, and we'd love to show you. Thank you.
Snykcode is our newest product. Launched last year, it helps find and fix security issues in the code you write. We started with support for Java and JavaScript, but we've been rapidly expanding this to cover more and more of the languages you use. Step forward to today, and we support Python, C#, Ruby, and PHP, and support for Go just launched in beta 2. We're not done here yet, but we're adding new languages every month. We've also been busy adding more ecosystem support to Snyk Container. We've expanded our container registry integration to support all of the various registry services out there, including Quay, GitHub Container Registry, DigitalOcean, GitLab, Google Artifact Registry, Harbor, and more. We've partnered exclusively with Docker to launch Docker scan command, putting Snyk directly in the hands of anyone using Docker Desktop. And we've just released support for using our rich container vulnerability database with the Trivy open source container scanning tool. You can see demos of using Snyk container and various container ecosystem tools in the Kubernetes application security talk track as well later on at SnykCon. Last but not least, we've also been growing support in Snyk infrastructure as code. We now support detecting configuration issues in Kubernetes manifests, in Terraform code, whether you're using AWS, Azure, or GCP, in AWS CloudFormation, and we've also greatly expanded the number of things we could find, covering published benchmarks like those from CIS, official best practices guidance, and issues discovered from our own security research. We also have a brand new integration into Terraform Cloud itself. We can't show everything we've been up to, but let's go to Ron Tal to see a demo of what we've built together with HashiCorp. Take it away, Ron.
The new integration between Snyk and Terraform Cloud allows teams using Terraform to track, manage, and fix security misconfigurations as part of their software development lifecycle, and before these issues ever reach to production. Each Terraform Cloud workspace using the integration will now benefit from security scanning baked into each run, meaning every change introduced in every Terraform plan file will be scanned for security misconfigurations. You can configure the integration scanning either as advisory or you can set it to be mandatory, allowing you to gate deployments based on the scanning results. Within the Snyk UI, you can find further details on the workspace that is being monitored. Each security issue that had been found provides information about its potential impact, severity, and remediation advice. It also recommends on the Terraform resource path where the issue was found, so we can fix it in the Terraform source code. The integration is also fully customizable, allowing you to ignore specific issues, override severities, and set the threshold for failure. You can use the integration with any of the major cloud providers, including AWS, GCP, and Azure, and have each scan run against our ever-growing library of the latest security policies.
Now, let's focus on some of the enhancements in the platform security intelligence that helps you identify and prioritize vulnerabilities. Rich, accurate, timely vulnerability information is critical to any vulnerability management program. But it's often difficult to prioritize those vulnerabilities if you don't have at least some additional context. A day in the life of a busy developer or security analyst. Another day, another vulnerability. A medium CVSS2 score. Not too much to see there, right? Wrong. This is Heartbleed. It's a terrible internet breaking bug. But you might have not known that until the internet exploded and the bug got its own fancy name, logo, and a website of its own. You often need more than just static vulnerability information to know whether something is really important to you. Now, that's why Snyk's security R&D team does lots of work on augmenting the high-quality vulnerability information we provide. We've included details of exploits once they have been published. We flag issues where the packages have been tampered with or are downright malicious, as happened a few times in the last year. We've just launched Vulnerability Conditions, a feature in which Snyk examines the specific configuration and code flow needed to make a vulnerability exploitable within your environment. And we help you deprioritize those vulnerabilities which aren't vulnerable in that environment. A great feature which we've just released that's getting lots of traction is social trends. The ability to track social media buzz about vulnerabilities and highlight that within the analysis context to prioritize accordingly. Happy to have Benji Kalman, our Director of Security R&D, demo it.
Thanks, Anna. I'm going to be demoing our new feature, Social Trends, which is a social media intelligence or SOCMINT feature that we've created in order to help developers best prioritize which vulnerabilities they should triage and fix first. Now, as you can see here, this is a little test project in which I have multiple different vulnerabilities in them. I need to choose which of these vulnerabilities I should first choose to look into, to triage, and to fix. What we've added is a helpful badge here, flagged as social trends, which you can see here is trending. Now, if I hover over this badge, you can see that the vulnerability is trending on Twitter and that this might indicate a growing threat. The reason that we believe this indicates a growing threat is a couple of things. First of all, we found that there was a 3-month window of social discussions going on in Twitter and other places before vulnerabilities were first published. But beyond that, we found a very high correlation between chatter on Twitter and exploits being published for a vulnerability, as well as breaches occurring based on this vulnerability. We found that 80% of the time, using our algorithm, we were able to identify a vulnerability having an exploit published for it before that vulnerability was published. And by giving you this information, we enable you to choose to triage and look at this vulnerability before it becomes dangerous to you or your users. Beyond merely this badge that we put in here, we've also added a URL for you to go and visit the tweets and see what it is that we're talking about. And here we can see that this vulnerability has a lot of publications going on about it, a lot of different chatter on Twitter, which is discussing this vulnerability, and potentially also giving aid to additional people to view this, think about it, and publish exploits or think to use it in breaches as well. All of this together gives us the feeling that we should be letting you know that this is a feature that is worth looking into and it's worth prioritizing your vulnerabilities based on. Thanks very much.
Next, we're going to explore one of the most important aspects of any platform designed by developers for developers, extensibility. To truly be a platform, it's critical to allow people to build on top of it and to build integrations onto other tools to make it more useful and valuable. Snyk products are designed to help you secure your cloud-native applications across the software development lifecycle. At Snyk, we believe that empowering you, the developer, with a powerful set of tools that help you find, resolve, and prevent vulnerabilities. By exposing the platform components that powers Snyk's products through a developer-friendly API, we put the same set of tools that we use to build Snyk in your hands. Importing projects, testing them for vulnerabilities, tracking the status of those vulnerabilities, you can do it all in the language and framework of your choice. Snyk's API is being used extensively by our customers, partners, and the open source community to customize, automate, and extend Snyk's developer experience. We've also worked hand in hand with amazing partners like Atlassian, AWS, DigitalOcean, and HashiCorp to meet you where you are with a developer security experience that feels like a native extension of the tools you use every day. And it's only growing. The Snyk API now handles 3x more requests today than it did this time last year, which is 4 million a day. We've seen exponential growth in the number of projects being managed in Snyk. And needless to say, we've learned a lot along the way about how you want to work, what you want to build with Snyk. Today, we're excited to announce version 3 of the Snyk API based on the latest version of OpenAPI specification. V3 is a consistent, friendly, and easy-to-use set of guiding principles with consistent versioning, pagination, and caching. It's also dramatically more performant with a 20x improvement in the 95th percentile. Best of all, you can start using it today alongside our legacy API. Our issues, projects, and target endpoints are available now. Snyk code is also available exclusively through version 3. And we'll be working hard to bring you access to all of Snyk's platform primitives over the coming months. Now, before you jump in and start building an integration, I've got something exciting I want to share with you. In order to create seamless integrations that don't have limitations associated with access type, we're making integrations a first-class citizen on the Snyk platform. With the launch of Snyk apps, as first-class actors, Snyk's apps take actions themselves directly through the API. This means integrations won't break when a user accidentally deletes their personal API key. They have granular permissions that you define, so they only get access to what they need. With apps, you can make Snyk a seamless extension of any workflow. that your users install with a click. If you've used any of our new integrations, you're probably already using Snyk apps. Now, I'm going to hand you over to Matt Krieger, VP of Product for the platform, to show you how easy it is to create your first Snyk app.
Thanks, Anir. Hey folks, I'm Matt Krieger. I lead the platform team here at Snyk, and I'm going to show you how to create your first Snyk app. But first, let's look at some examples and talk about what we've come to expect from the tools that we use and the integrations that extend or connect them. The type of experiences that Snyk apps is designed to enable. Now, this dashboard probably looks pretty familiar to you if you're a Bitbucket user. This is an integration that we worked on with the team at Atlassian. You can see here on the left-hand side, there's a new security tab if you're not authenticated or it isn't connected, and a Snyk tab once it is. And what I love about this is it brings vulnerability right into the Bitbucket workflow. It saves me from having a context shift, which I think is a hallmark of the best integrations. Of course, I can get the same information inside of the Snyk dashboard, but the point is I don't have to leave Bitbucket to get a sense of how secure this project is. Now, eventually, I probably will have to leave Bitbucket. Let's pretend for a moment that this project is being deployed to an EC2 instance or something through an AWS code pipeline. Well, we've worked on an integration with the team at AWS. And what I love about this integration is it takes context into consideration. What we're trying to do inside of Bitbucket is find and fix issues. We want to understand them and resolve them. But what we're trying to accomplish, the objective in an AWS in our deployment pipeline is totally different. Here, we want to stop vulnerabilities from making it into production. And that's exactly what the integration does. So let's add a new stage for scanning to our pipeline. And we'll call this Snyk scan. And you can see here that Snyk has a new AWS action provider, and we don't have to copy and paste credentials. Snyk apps gives us the ability to just kick off into an OAuth flow. Now, I'm already authorized. I've already logged into my Snyk account, so I get to skip that. And all I'm asked to do is to say to configure the integration itself. So here I can say that if the vulnerability is critical, then I want to block deployment. Now, once I'm done, that's going to kick me back over to AWS, where we can see that we've successfully configured this action provider. These are the type of experiences that we want to help you create with Snyk apps. So let's jump into it. Now, of course, Anir's already told you a bit about the new version of our API, and you can manage Snyk apps. You can manage and create Snyk apps using the new API. But to help you get started, we've created this reference architecture. You can find it on GitHub at Snyk/the Snyk apps demo. And I've taken the liberty of cloning this repository and getting it up and running locally. So let's drop into the terminal for a moment, and I'll show you how to use it. So there's really only 2 commands that we need to run, or 3 if you include the npm install. The first that we have is a create app. Now this just under the hood is just calling the v3 API. You give it a name, the scopes or permissions that your app requires, and an organizational ID. We're going to run that. It's going to create the app for us. And then once the app is created, it's going to take the client ID and secret and put it in the .env environment for us. Now we can get this reference architecture up and running locally. And it kind of just takes care of a lot of the finicky OAuth flows and stuff. So here we can see it's got 2 sides, an admin dashboard for an app and the dashboard that our users experience. So let's pop open this admin dashboard for a sec. So here we are. You can see we can manage our app here. This will all end up in the Snyk dashboard, but it's nice to have it in the reference architecture too. And nobody's installed our app. Well, let's do something about that. So this takes us to the page that we would be showing our users. This install button works a lot like the connect button did in that AWS integration that we saw. We click on that. It's going to kick us back to the Snyk dashboard so that we can install the app. The first thing that we can see is we know exactly what we're giving the app permissions to access, and we can choose which organization we want to install the app into. So create the app. Now that's redirected us back to the dashboard, back to our dashboard. So here, our app now has access to the new and existing APIs on behalf of that user. And if we go back to our admin panel, we can see that the app has been installed. Yay! If you'd like to learn more about the new version of our API or Snyk apps, then please join Gary and I for the Platform Evolution session tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Back over to you, Anir.
Thanks, Matt. That was awesome. I can't wait to see what our customers, partners, and the open source community build. Please join Matt tomorrow for the platform update to learn more about API v3, Snyk apps, and what's coming on the horizon. So we've talked about different aspects of the platform, those that help you secure different parts of your application, those that help you secure at different points in your development process, and those that ensure that you're securing the most critical vulnerabilities. But there's another important step needed to realize this vision of empowered developers building securely. Security needs to become a developer skill. As developers, you won't and shouldn't need to be security experts, but you will need to understand more about security, especially some of the common or critical vulnerabilities, how they work, and how to avoid them. To help you with this, today we're excited to announce Snyk Learn. Snyk Learn is a high-quality security education solution available for free. And it puts you, as developers, in control of your own security education journey, with content that's natively integrated into the development workflow and tailored specifically for developers. Snyk Learn makes your security education relevant, actionable, and engaging. It helps you learn on your own schedule. Sometimes you're working and just need to learn about the issue you're facing right now. Snyk Learn can help you get there. It's integrated with Snyk security solutions, learn what you need, when you need, with instant learning content, and provides modular, bite-sized learning content. Other times, you might want to block half an hour to go through some lessons. The lessons are quick, so you can make use of 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, whatever you have available, and devote that to your security education. Snyk Learn also makes the learning process relevant to you. You can select your coding language. So if you're a Java developer, you can learn in Java, not PHP or something else. And if you follow a lesson link from an issue focused on your own code, it's as relevant as it gets. You can learn about the issue you're facing right now in your own code so you can understand, fix, and avoid the same issue in the future. There's some developer security learning tools that are reasonable quality, but they tend to be costly, or lots of free online sources, lengthy blog posts, technical documentations, videos, and the like that are mixed quality and require self-curation of thousands of pieces of information. Snyk Learn combines the best of both worlds by providing a sophisticated developer learning tool that is free for you to use, empowering you to learn security when you choose to do so in the way you choose to do. We're excited to show you Snyk Learn. So let's go back to Ben one more time to get a look.
Thanks, Anir. Snyk Learn puts security education in the hands of developers. Learning should be fun, and we're creating security education that developers love. We're launching today with a rapidly growing set of bite-sized lesson content covering the vulnerabilities that we know are most common from the millions of projects that we monitor across the Snyk platform. Let's dive straight in and take a look at a lesson. Each lesson introduces you to the basics of the vulnerability, in this case directory traversal. Each lesson also includes the ability to learn by doing, with hands-on, step-by-step examples. The Under the Hood section helps you understand the inner workings of the vulnerability. A section dedicated to mitigation teaches you common strategies to avoid or fix the vulnerability. And if you're hungry to learn more, we provide links to white papers, videos, blogs, and cheat sheets for you to soak up like a sponge. All of our complete lesson content is out there 100% free and in public from today at learn.snyk.io. snyk.snyk.io. But we also believe that security education is most effective when it's provided at the moment in time when you need it the most. And that's why we've closely integrated Snyk Learn with the rest of the Snyk platform. Now, when reviewing the issues that Snyk finds in your code, open source, containers, and infrastructure configurations, we'll also provide a link to any available Snyk Learn lesson content right there when and where you need it. And we also present these same context-sensitive and just-in-time opportunities to learn right there within your IDE. Anna, back to you.
Thanks, Ben. Now, we want you to help us deliver the perfect security education experience for you. So, we're building it right out in the open. If you go to learn.snyk.io now, you can take the lessons that are there and provide us feedback on the experience. Again, these are free. You don't even need to be a Snyk product user, although the ability to integrate Snyk makes the process even better. So you should try that. You will also start to see links in the Snyk products when there's a lesson available for the vulnerability you're dealing with right now. And you can use those to jump right to the relevant lessons. We will be constantly adding more languages and more lessons as we go. And now, for the final important piece of the story, let's go back to Guy.
Thanks, Anair. It's always great to see all the exciting additions that we've been building and to get a mention of all the great ones that are still in the pipe. As you hopefully all agree, Snyk's platform is already powerful, and the team is hard at work at making it more and more awesome every day. We aim to help developers secure their entire work, and we capture everything in the repo and bring it all into one place, so both developers and security people can have one platform they can use daily and they can rely and build upon. But there's one more thing that we're still missing. We capture the different parts of the application today. We cover your code and your containers and your open source libraries, your infrastructure as code, and we bring them all into this one place so you understand what you're using and whether it's secure or not. And of course, we help you fix issues that we discover. However, in practice, as a developer, that's not really how you think about your app. You think about it as just that. You think about it as an app. And all these components, they pull together to create one big picture. The different aspects of the application, they might roll up into a service. Multiples of these services, they roll up into some central application that has a business function. In addition, each of these components and each of the services, they have a certain lifespan. They might be in code, they might have just been built, they might be deployed, maybe on staging, maybe a blue-green train or canary releases. There are humans involved in the application. There are business requirements that apply to it. As a developer, these are all parameters that, whether you consider that or not, you need to hold in your head. When we tell you that a certain open source library is vulnerable, you factor in all these considerations. How risk-averse is this application? How significantly sensitive, is the data that it protects? And which stage is it in? Is it deployed in staging, this vulnerable code we just learned about, a vulnerable library? Is it actually deployed to production? Has it been delivered and shipped to customers? What are the compliance elements that I need to address over here? And how does it interact with the rest of my system to know whether this specific vulnerable library can actually be accessible to an attacker? Can someone actually reach in through all the infrastructure, through the code, and exploit this vulnerability? Now, today, the platform helps you pull together this information by bringing it all into one place and with all sorts of specific connectors that we've built. For example, we can tell you about container vulnerabilities, and we can prioritize them correctly based on Kubernetes settings that you actually have in your production cluster. As you've heard, we invested more in reachability and understanding how your code interacts with the vulnerable libraries. We do all of those in different pieces, but we've really come to realize that in practice, we should think bigger. When we go back to first principles, we want to understand this big picture intentionally and not just in small connectors. what you can expect to see from us over the coming year and beyond is pulling together a full application picture, a full holistic model of how all these different components of the application work. How do they relate to one another in infrastructure and productions? How do they change over time? This holistic graph, this central model, will be at the core of the application, and it would allow us to help you elevate component vulnerabilities, a vulnerable library, a vulnerable piece of code, a mistake in an infrastructure as code script, to application vulnerabilities, to enrich our application intelligence so that it embodies the entire app as one holistic model, to enrich our security intelligence so that it can ask questions about all the moving pieces of the app, and to improve our developer experience because we can understand your app better and we can do a better job plugging in our security insights at the right point and with the best context we can give you. Thank you for joining us today. We are trying to achieve something really big in developer security, and it takes a village. We are truly grateful to have such great partners like yourselves along the journey with us and helping us make developer security truly come to life.